And good morning, everyone. It's August 1st. Welcome to the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. I tell you, the year is going fast. We do have Commissioner Evans on the phone. Commissioner Evans.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. If everyone will stand, we'll do the invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Father, we come today just to say thank you. Thank you for this wonderful day that you've given us. Thank you for all of those that are in this room today and under the sound of my voice. Father, we'd ask you to touch everyone's heart to make it peaceful and love everyone that comes into your realm. Father, we ask that this meeting be done decent and in order. We'd ask you to bless those that are not here with us. Bless those that are here with us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Larry, don't push me.
His head.
Correct.
Alrighty. That takes us to our recognitions. Our retired Cumberland County employee.
She's here.
She is here.
She is here.
All right, Madam Manager.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, and we're honored today to recognize long-term employee Sarah Gill with the
If she
Department
come
of Social
forward, and
Services.
if you come up to the mic, Madam Manager, and you can talk in the mic, and we can recognize Ms. Gill. She's been with us for a long time. I think Commissioner Stewart is going to come down with you. She serves on the Cumberland County Board of Department of Social Services Board.
You stand right here by Vice Chairman Stewart.
Y'all would turn that way, and there's and Commissioner Stewart will present that plan.
Good morning, and I'm honored today to recognize Sarah, who's worked within several departments within the Department of Social Services. She has worked in many areas, worked for First, Child Protection Services, as well as administration. Sarah's most recent position was the Social Work Program Manager, where she led an important initiative and performance management and staff development. In her role, she provided valuable training to her staff members. Sarah, you've been a valued member of the Cumberland County Department of Social Services for 32 years. I want to recognize, and I've had the opportunity to work directly with Sarah over the years. With 2,200 employees, I don't always have that opportunity, but I have with Sarah. And I will tell you, she has made a significant contribution to that department and our community, and she has been extremely dedicated. You have made a difference in the lives of our citizens, and you are already missed, but you are still in our hearts, and I wish you the best after 32 years. Let's give her a round of applause, please. Would you like to?
You want to read the plaque? Use the microphone. You got to use that microphone.
It's August.
All right, it is August. It's getting close.
This plaque says, presented to Sarah Gill. Okay, I'm sorry. Social Services in recognition of outstanding service to the citizens of Cumberland County, December 17th, 1990 to April the 30th, 2022, from the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners on August the 1st, 2022. Congratulations, and thank you for being part of the village.
for everything you've done for us. Thank you.
Sarah, with the whole board. Thank you.
Sarah, before you leave, and I know she is no longer with the Department of Social Services, but Brenda Jackson was there for a long time. I don't know if you want to say a couple of words. She was there when she was there, so I'll give you that opportunity.
I guess it says, be ye always ready.
That's what they say, right? Especially with this chairman, right? You never know.
Good morning. I had the pleasure of working for Sarah the 14 years I was the Director of Social Services. And all I can say about Sarah is that she walks, works, and taught the mission of the county in terms of her mission and dedication to service. And her contribution to adults and children in this and families in this community, she left a footprint. And I'm just proud to be able to work with her, and her dedication is just immeasurable. So congratulations, Sarah. Love you, girl.
I wasn't sure if you
Thank
said
you.
you worked for her when you first started.
She worked for me.
Sometimes you have those employees you work for. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. All right. Ooh, this is a great one. This takes us to the North Carolina Association of Agriculture Affairs Scholarship winner and NCACC Youth Voice Delegate. Madam Manager.
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask Lisa Childers to come forward, please. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Cumberland County 4-H is pleased to be here with you this morning. We have some great news to share about two of our outstanding youth in our county.
Right.
As many of you know, the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners will host their annual meeting in a couple of weeks, and we hope to see each of you there for our first night event. We'll have our staff there as well, and we can't wait to celebrate along with you as we celebrate our county government. During our annual meeting, we really look forward to Youth Voice. And you probably are already familiar with Youth Voice, but we always every county sends a delegate to represent their county. And this gives youth the opportunity to just gain a better understanding of what county governments do and the role of county commissioners as the governing board of our county. Jessica Drake, our 4-H agent, will come forward in just a moment to introduce our Cumberland County delegate. We also have another 4-H member here with us today that has received some pretty impressive honors, and we also wanted to share his accomplishments with you. So at this time, I would like to turn it over to Jessica Drake that will introduce our 4-H youth.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Commissioners, for having us here today. This year, we are excited to welcome Ms. Sarah U. Harriet as our delegate for Cumberland County for this year's North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Youth Voice Program. Ms. Sarah is a rising senior at Terry Sanford and has had several leadership roles within 4-H. During the pandemic, she was instrumental in chartering a brand new 4-H club, which was something that was definitely a great thing that she was able to do. And she did a lot of community service projects through that club as well as through her other works. I know with this newfound knowledge that she will gain over the Youth Voice program, that this investment will definitely come back tenfold to this community. Sarah, would you like to come up, please?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sarah U. Harriet. I'm 17 years old. I'm a rising senior at Terry Sanford High School. I've been involved in 4-H for the past 3 years, and I can't even begin to tell you how wonderful this opportunity has been and how excited I am to attend Youth Voice. I know that, like Ms. Jessica said, I'll be able to learn so much, and I can only hope to help improve our community through this knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Evans, Commissioner Evans.
Please let Sarah know that I'm very proud of her, especially by being a Terry Sanford Bulldog.
Sarah, Commissioner Evans graduated from Terry Sanford, so he's letting us all know. I got the Pine Forest to my right, to my left. I've got Massey Hill, and then I got E. Smith. So we've got most of it covered.
Very well represented.
Thank you.
In addition to Miss Sarah Harriet, again, we are proud of all of our 4-Hers, but we also want to acknowledge Mr. Fabian Horton, who will be actually leaving us here in a couple of weeks to go off to college. Okay. He is this year's Agricultural Fair Scholarship winner, and this is given to him. He received this for his giving of his many time and talents over the last couple years within our fair. Every year, he contributes over 100 hours. Additionally, 2 weeks ago, Fabian was tapped as an Honor Club member, which is a prestigious acknowledgement through the North Carolina 4-H program. He won a statewide Youth Volunteer Award and was also awarded another $1,000 4-H scholarship. We could not be more proud of him. Fabian will be attending Western Carolina University here in the next couple weeks, and we would at this time ask Fabian and Mr. Tony Williams, the fair manager, to please come forward.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just want to congratulate him. It's the North Carolina Association of Agricultural Fairs is statewide. So to be one of the few winners across the entire state for all of the fairs is a great accomplishment. So congratulations, Fabian.
Thank you. Tony, you're right.
Yes.
Yes, sir. If you want.
All right, so I have nothing but 4-H to thank for this. I am Fabian Horton. Ms. Jessica just said, I'm senior moving away to WCU. 4-H has given me the opportunity to serve as a district officer. I recently ran actually a statewide event that was educating youth about the government. We got to send youth to meet their House and Senate members that were representing them. I've also been a national representative twice, and I have all this to thank with 4-H. And it's because of 4-H that I'm ready for what's next. It's because of 4-H that I am ready for WCU. Thank you.
Thank you. And if both of you all will come around. Y'all come right here so you can get a picture, Faith. And if I could get all of you all up in the fair. Come on, Lisa.
Now we want to get one with the Fair Scholarship winner. Tony, you stay.
He was trying to get in front of my face. You know that's not right.
One more with this here.
You saw that? That almost hurt me right there.
Oh, I missed the picture.
I'm good.
Congratulations to both of them. I tell you, we're doing some outstanding things in this community, And Sarah, we will see you at the state convention. We'll be there. We'll make sure we get us, we have some time to be able to talk. As you go off to Western Carolina, it's a lot cooler up there than it is down here. But we wish you well. We know you're going to represent Cumberland County just as you're doing with 4-H. And to all of those out there, 4-H is just a tremendous opportunity for all of our kids in this county. I would tell parents, if you have a young person, 4-H is no better place to go and to be able to have those kids there. So I encourage everyone to go to the 4-H. And again, we have our county fair coming up, and for all of those citizens here, it's an opportunity to go out, to be able to see some animals, but also to be able to have some rides and to be able to eat. Yeah, we eat, don't we? If we do nothing else, I do eat. And you put on a wonderful fair, and we thank you. And always to our extension office, what a wonderful job. Those master gardeners, my yard looks pretty good. Tell them thank you. So thank you all. I know y'all don't want to stay. You don't have to stay. Sometimes people think they have to stay. So for Fabian and Sarah, y'all don't have to stay if you don't want to, but please, you are welcome to stay with us. All right, that will take us to the approval of the agenda. Madam Manager, are there any adjustments to the agenda?
No, sir.
Anyone? If not, I call for a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, if I can get a roll call. He's on the phone. I got to have a roll call starting here. Or whichever way, you can start there. It don't matter.
Commissioner Lancaster?
Yes.
Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
Chairman Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keith?
Thank you.
That is unanimous.
Thank you. That will take us to our presentation, North Carolina Department of Transportation Projects in Cumberland County. I'll call on the county manager.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're honored this morning to have Richie Hines with us, who serves as the district engineer for Harnett and Cumberland County. Due to COVID, it's been some time since he's been here to present. And this morning, I'm going to welcome Mr. Hines to the lectern, and he's going to give us an update on Department of Transportation projects. Welcome, Mr. Hines.
You need the keyboard or
Great, thanks. Thank you, Amy. Mr. Chair and Board, thank you for the opportunity to come before you this morning. As Madam Manager mentioned, it's been a while since I've been here, and am, of course, willing and able to come anytime you would like to have me, but I'm here this morning specifically because the Chief Engineer's Office asked us earlier this year to make sure that we got out and updated the boards on the work of the department. That's tough acts to follow this morning, so I'm going to have to talk to somebody about my placement on the agenda, but we'll proceed on. I am Richie Hines. I'm district engineer. My district is Harnett County as well as Cumberland County. And our district office, we're tangentially involved in a lot of different things that the department does. I get a lot of emails and meeting requests from anything from our construction projects, our planning, our maintenance. I communicate frequently with the manager's office and of course the citizens more than anyone. So that makes me aware of a lot of things, but I'm not necessarily an expert in any of those because we do have different duties we do in the district. But one of our primary responsibilities is being the kind of the point of contact for the community, and that's why I'm here today. What I'd like to do is just go through, give you an overview of the projects that we have planned in the STIP. I'll give you just brief project updates on how 295 is coming along, I-95, touch on some of the other local projects of interest, and move on to resurfacing, and I'll try to leave a little bit of time for questions at the end if you have any. Our State Transportation Improvement Plan, we call it the STIP. It is our 10-year construction schedule for projects that we're developing. We update it every 2 years through the prioritization process, and we do it in large part with collaboration with our regional planning offices, our RPOs, and our MPOs, as well as public input. For about 10 years now, we've had a law, the STI law, which is the Strategic Transportation Investments Law. And that is a data-driven process that allows us to develop projects based on a set of established criteria. They compete with other projects on a statewide basis, on a regional basis, and also just a local basis, just more local to Cumberland County, Harnett County. And the data allows those projects to be rated and scored, and then as we allocate funding, we're able to determine what projects will make their way into that 10-year plan that we update every 2 years. The strategic mobility formula is basically the formula that we use that incorporates that data that I mentioned and those metrics that we use. Safety is a big one, congestion, the ability to move traffic on a greater regional basis, even a statewide basis. All those factors go into planning these projects. As you're all aware, we have had some cost increases, all of us, in our household budgets as well as our transportation budget, specifically to DOT. So we've had costs going up for just a rising cost of materials, labor, right-of-way that we have to purchase for these projects. And so what that did, it caused us to become over-programmed. And so we had to pause the process and then adapt our estimates, our construction estimates for these projects to more adequately reflect the increase of cost that goes into a project. So we put a pause on that project. We've put some measures in place to help prevent that from happening again. One of the things we're doing is we're checking more frequently on those estimates so that as the cost of a project goes up, our planning is more accurately reflecting that. So with that said, we are probably just a few weeks away from having that reorganization done. We will then have public meetings in the division office right here in Fayetteville, just down the street from here, where the public can come in and take a look at how it looks like the next 10 years of projects may look, give us their input on that. We'll probably also have a session specifically for boards like yourself to come in as well, a public official type meeting where you could come in as well. And then we take that input, we'll do the final touches on the draft STIP. We hope in December of this year we'll have that ready for release. It'll go to the Board of Transportation for final approval next summer. So that's kind of where we stand right now as far as our 10-year process.
Well, on the, just to ask you, on the STIF though, because they redid it, is there some additional funds so that, and how do we, in terms of if we want to try to move a project up or from the county standpoint, how would we end up doing that? I know they got some additional funds.
There have been some additional funds that I think the legislature has set aside from new sales,
Right.
If that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
How you would specifically get a hold of those, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I can find out. One of my colleagues, actually a couple of my colleagues locally here
I'll
are
check the
planning
yeah.
engineers.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
okay,
I'll talk to the MPO. Okay, thank you.
sure. All right. So just for more specific projects, and some of these you've seen before. I came to you last fall, so some of these should look familiar. On 401, we're replacing the bridge over the Little River right near the Harnett County line. That project should be completed in October of this year. Gillis Hill Road from Stony Point to Rayford Road was just awarded to W.C. English. Construction I think there may be some utility relocation occurring already. Construction should start soon on that. Rockfish Road and Gulfview Road with roundabouts and Hope Mills. That is anticipated to be let in June of 2023. There is a mini roundabout planned at Whitfield Street and Camden Road, anticipated to be let here in just a few months in October.
That's by the urban ministry?
Yes,
That's
sir.
what that is?
Right there. Mhm.
Oh, good.
Camden Road project from the Fayetteville Loop to NC 59, that is anticipated to be let next October. And I should point out, these dates are subject to change, but these are the most recent. You may have seen construction at intersections throughout the city. We, for several years now, have had federal funding to improve, specifically to improve pedestrian accommodations, wheelchair ramps, missing sections of sidewalks, in some cases pedestrian signals, thermoplastic markings for pedestrian crossings across the intersections. So that source of funding is still available to us, and we're continuing to have those projects. And then we often have safety projects where you'll see intersections get converted with always stop signs, signal improvements, the addition of turn lanes, other smaller projects like that. Continuing on with projects, NC 59 from George Owen Road to Camden Road, recently awarded to Barnhill Contracting. Construction to start on that soon. We have a project planned to be let in February of 2023 on Bragg Boulevard from Skybo to Glenville. And a roundabout on Chickenfoot Road at John McMillan Road, anticipated let date of March of 2023. Again, we have multiple smaller projects for rumble strips and rumble stripes, which really decrease the runoff road and left of center accidents that we see, new signals, improvements to existing signalized intersections. We'll see those as well. I always like to touch on our safety projects. Two sources of safety funding primarily. One is state funded. It's about $12 million a year. They submit these projects quarterly. We have a regional traffic safety office. And as we are notified and as we find out about safety issues, that source of funding allows us to develop projects pretty quickly. It's not a years-long process. Often it's a month-long process. We can identify a need. We can propose an improvement. If it scores highly enough to get funded, then we're able to develop a project, let it to contract, and get that safety issue addressed. We also have federal funds, which are HSIP, Highway Safety Improvement Program funds, that we're also able to utilize specifically for safety. Rayford Road, one section has been awarded to Highland Paving Company here in Fayetteville. That's from Old Rayford Road to Bunts Road. We're anticipating in 2023 to let the section from Bunts to Glensford, and then Glensford to Robinson, as you're coming into town, will be let in 2024. So
That's
I can
those
tell.
medians.
What's that?
Those medians.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just people can't really tell what that was. So that's,
Yeah,
that's the medians you're going to put down.
Raised
Rayford
median
Road.
down Rayford Road. Access management is the fancy term we use, but yes, it's concrete median down the road to help provide safer movement along Rayford. The Fayetteville Outer Loop, this is just a good example of how long sometimes it takes projects to get developed. We started planning the Outer Loop back in the late 80s. We are happy to say that we can see the end in sight now. Some pieces have already been finished. Recently, though, we awarded to Branch Civil the section from Rayford Road to just south of Camden Road. The piece from Camden to I-95 South, we're hoping to finish late this year. And then kind of a companion project to that is some widening on I-95 right in that area where they tie. That'll be completed in December of 2024. But we felt it was good to kind of have those two projects kind of tied together. And again, we're hoping that maybe late 2026 we can have the whole Fayetteville Outer Loop finished. Total of 254 total lane miles, which is a 39-mile section, 85 bridges and 4 flyovers. So it's pretty extensive project. I-95, just briefly, if you've been on 95 lately, you're aware of it. We've been doing construction. We hope that in 2026 we'll have the section from, it's actually in Johnston County, I-40 in Johnston County, down to Murphy Road, finished in 2026. And there are other sections that are in the process of being awarded and being let in Robinson County, and I just listed those just for your reference. Some of those will be lit this year. Some of them, construction will actually start this year, but that's under construction as well in Robinson. The HMIP, or the Highway Maintenance Improvement Program, that is our 5-year resurfacing plan. Something Division 6, we had intuitively tried to plan our resurfacing budget. We've been doing that for probably 15 years now, where even before we had our resurfacing allocation, we would make projections of how much money we felt we would get, and then we would go and identify those roads that we felt like needed to be paved 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, so we could plan appropriately and replace crossline pipes, seal the cracks, fix low shoulders, clip high shoulders, prepare the road for resurfacing, and be more proactive rather than reactive with our resurfacing program. Well, the HMIP is something that we're now required to do. So for our division, it was an easy transition because we were kind of intuitively doing it anyway. But that includes all the ways we try to maintain our pavements. It's not only with plant mix asphalt. We use chip seals, slurry seals, microsurface, and all different ways to touch the pavements. And we try to, touch the road with the right treatment at the right time so we can extend the life of our pavements. Our 5-year plan right now, which again is subject to change some based on the funding we receive, how quickly the roads on the list deteriorate. Right now, I won't go through every one of them, but you can see those major roads that are included. For the past couple of years, we have really hit our subdivisions hard, so we could serve a lot of the community better. A lot of folks do live in subdivisions, so we've put a special emphasis on resurfacing those streets. And I will just brag a little bit on Cumberland County. We're in the top 3 in the state as far as the percentage of roads that we have recognized as being rated as good. And then we're also top 3 in the state for just overall rating for our pavements. So that's something we want to make sure we point out. Okay, I know I went through that pretty quickly, but are there any questions?
Anyone have any questions? Commissioner Keefe.
Robbie, thanks for coming by. And I know you're on the engineering side, so that you may not have the answer to this, but you do have to deal with budgets. And every dollar of DOT's budget comes from gas tax.
Right.
Right? Well, there's not as much gas tax lately.
Right.
Okay. Well, do you have any idea what the long-term solution to that is? Because sooner or later, you're going to be getting less. You got all these projects, but you got less and less funding coming in, so you're going to have to do that reassessment every year.
Sure.
And so.
One of the things, and let me make sure I say it correctly. Again, I'm a little out of school on this particular topic, but one of the things that is a change, and is probably related to what you're saying. The new budget includes a provision that allocates a portion of auto sales to be transferred to the highway fund and the highway trust fund, which will mean more funding for for these projects. But you're right though. I mean, we're kind of torn. You'd like to see better fuel efficiency. You'd like to see greener automobiles, but as a department, if folks are at the gas pumps less, and if cars are lasting longer and longer, and folks aren't buying new cars, those are our main sources of revenue. And so it does impact us. And I know the folks in our central offices in Raleigh are trying to be proactive and figure that out. It's a good question.
Yeah, and the follow-up is, a lot of the questions we get, citizens call us, there's an issue going on the side of the road, debris, whatever. They don't understand that we're not in the road business. It's either a city road or DOT.
Sure.
The best thing to do for a citizen if they have a concern is there a website where they can, at the DOT website, can they make a request?
There is. We call it Contact Us.
Okay.
There's a Contact Us website where they can go online and they can just give the details that they have, and then our folks that run that system will direct it to the appropriate office. Often they end up with me,
Okay.
And then I'll determine, is it something my office can handle, or do I need to send it to a maintenance office or a roadside environmental unit office? But there is a website, and they can always just call. We get an awful lot of phone calls, and that's fine.
Thank you for the update.
Sure.
Anyone else have any other questions? I just have 3. One, thank you for lowering the speed limit on Country Club in Pamela.
Okay.
And I know y'all gonna do some other things around that, but I want to thank the DOT for doing that.
Sure.
The second thing I got, go to other cities, and even when they have the medians and the ones we're talking about putting down Rayford Road, some of them have trees, some of them have flowers. Can we do something besides what we did on Ramsey Street, which is just a white, and down 301, just white concrete barrier? How does this community do that? We want to have something that looks nice,
Sure.
as opposed to just a white concrete barrier going down the middle.
I understand, and I agree. To the best of my knowledge, there is funding, especially on our larger federal projects. There is a percentage of the total cost of the project available just for, landscaping and aesthetic improvements. DOT can work with an agency to, sometimes it's just grass. Depending on the nature of the highway, the volume of traffic, the speed of traffic, we may not be able to put, oak trees out there. But we can work with you to develop a plan and to install it, and I believe DOT will actually maintain it for a year. But after that year, the entity has to pick up the maintenance of it for those kinds of landscaping. So the county or the city, if they decide to take it on, has to pick up the maintenance of those landscaped areas.
Or some company or something like that. So we need to be proactive in terms of going to the thing that
That's
you all
right.
are going to have down there to say,
Absolutely.
we want to be able to do this, but it's got to be maintained by the local entity.
That's right.
All right, so our community, if we want it to look good, we have to take care of ourselves, is what you're telling.
That's right. It would be a county function. After that first year, we do the planning, and then we maintain it for a year, and then we turn it over to the, in this case, it'd be the county.
Okay.
And so the county would have to pick up the maintenance of it.
And my last thing is coming down 95, where you come on to 295. There's no deceleration lane. I mean, if you coming down 95, you just got to jump to get to that. It's really, I don't know if you've seen it, coming down south. It used to be a deceleration lane where you could move over and go on to 295. Now, you just got to jump to get to 295. There is no deceleration lane. So I would ask
Because of construction?
I guess that's what it is, because it
Okay.
was taken out, because there was one beforehand. And so now if you get down there, you got the 2 mile to 295, the 1 mile to 295.
And then
if
you're
you
on.
ain't paying attention, you will miss it because there's no deceleration lane. You just got to jump over. So I would ask y'all to kind of look at that. There's a lot of accidents happening right in, and I know
Right
that
there.
y'all can't
Okay.
stop that, but just all that traffic going in there. And once it happens, and it's dark right there, that 295, especially coming down at night. It's hard to see, so.
I'll be glad to look into those
Okay.
and get back with you.
If you will, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And thank you for your presentation. Based upon those, anybody have any questions? Rich, we always thank you for being able to come here and update us, and anybody that has any questions, his email address is right there on the screen, so thank you so very much for
You're welcome.
taking the
Thank
moment
y'all.
to come. All right, that takes us to the Cumberland County Water Districts. I will call on the county manager.
Yes, sir. While Mr. Miller is pulling up the presentation, I'll just say a few things from here, and then I'll move to the lectern. As you know, we have developed a working team to explore water development throughout the county. We are very fortunate to have an internal water consultant, Amanda Botter. She serves as our solid waste director, but in her previous life, she was a water engineer and specialized in groundwater resource development. We also have Jermaine Walker, our county engineer, as well as Amy Hall, our public utilities specialist. A part of that team are some consultants. We've hired a hydrogeologist with Groundwater Management Associates, GMA. They'll be looking and exploring groundwater resource development. We also have HDR of the Carolinas that will work with us on the system planning, funding, treatment, and public outreach. We have a representative with us this morning, the Vice President, Chris Brown of HDR. He serves for the Water Business Group Operations Manager. So with that, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this is a presentation on where we are with our water districts. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the history. I know the board's very well of the history, but I think for the viewing public, it would be helpful to provide a little bit of background information. I want to talk a little bit about where we are with the Grays Creek District. I want to seek the board's interest in creating 2 new water districts to address contamination. And then I want to talk a little bit about water supply sources and next steps. And so you may recall, or some of you may not know, that in 2002, the board actually created the Linden and Vander water and sewer districts. Up until this point, there's been little to no activity with those districts that were created in 2002. There's been quite a bit of work in the Grays Creek District over many years. In 2009, the board actually started a master plan countywide, but really focused in on Grays Creek because of the growth in that area. Unfortunately, in 2011, the referendum for public water failed quite significantly. Fast forward a couple of years in 2017, and Gen X was discovered in the Cape Fear River. There's been quite a bit of work with North Carolina Division of Environmental Quality, the Cape Fear River Watch, and Comores, and there's a consent order that requires Comores to participate either in the extension of water where feasible or putting in filtration systems based on the level of contamination. After about an 18-month period, we were unable to secure a financial commitment from Comores that I believe rose to the level of the responsibility they have for water contamination in our community. So in March of 2022, this board took significant action and filed a lawsuit against Comores, and that process continues. But that process obviously will take many years. A significant change occurred in this past June. The EPA announced new health advisories. Those health advisories changed the levels of Gen X and other PFAS contamination. Specifically for Gen X, it used to be that health advisory 140 parts per trillion. EPA reduced that to 10 parts per trillion, and again, an additional 1,300 wells now fall within those levels or a combination of levels of PFAS. And so I want to start, and I believe you may have copies at your seat in case you can't read this, but I'd like to show you pictures, and this is a map county-wide, and this map was created by DEQ based on the new information. And you can see the red shows the contamination of Gen X greater than 140 parts per trillion. The yellow is really new. It's PFAS greater than 10 parts per trillion, or the total sum of PFAS greater than 70 parts per trillion. And you can see it extends well beyond the Grays Creek District. I first want to talk a little specifically about Grays Creek and really about Phase 1. In total, the board has allocated $21 million for the Grays Creek District. The ARP committee has allocated $10 million. We, several years ago, moved $10 million out of our capital investment fund, and the schools have committed $1 million. We are also very aggressively looking at other potential sources of funding. For Phase 1, we are moving forward with rapid pace. On the agenda today, under items of business, in order to move forward, we need the board to approve an organization action resolution. All that does is allow the chairman or myself to sign documents and execute agreements, such as encroachment agreements, grants, easements, and permitting. And so this is something that we will do for this district and any other district that we work with. We are moving forward and exploring purchase of the easements and encroachment agreements. Our plan is to work on the permitting in tandem to that, and for Phase 1 to be prepared to issue the request for bids at the beginning of 2023. The good thing is that we already have a bulk water agreement in place with the Public Works Commission. There's an existing bulk water agreement, a tri-party agreement that's tied to the parking deck downtown. One of the things that we want to do this time that we didn't do previously in 2009 with Grays Creek is develop a communications plan. We need to set up community meetings, and we want to get early sign-up and commitments for this Phase 1. As you may recall, this will be that long transmission line from the food line on 87 to the 2 elementary schools, and our goal is to pick up a customer base along the way. So in addressing contamination beyond Grays Creek, we formed that team, the team that I mentioned earlier, to begin exploring contamination in other areas of the county. And we'll need to prioritize that look based on the levels of contamination. But the most successful way to do that is to create water and sewer districts. The advantage of that is the county, if the county applied as a whole for grants for a particular area, because of the income levels countywide, we would probably not qualify for grants. And so the best way to do that is to create water and sewer districts and apply for grants and loans by districts. And so we want to start exploring the 2 new districts, Cedar Creek and the East Central District that I'll show you in just a moment. But we also want to look at serving the existing Vander districts. Financial fees.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Evans.
and I'm sorry, and before we go into a little further, could we get the county manager, for those that are listening at home, to understand what a water district is?
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans. What a water district is, it's a defined area with boundaries that we're exploring to extend water. And again, the advantage to doing that is it places us in a competitive advantage for competing for grants.
We already have 2. We already have 2 water districts.
We actually have 3.
We have 3 water districts.
We have 3. And we also want to discuss the Vander district this morning. Right. So I'm going to start with the Vander district.
Hold on 1 minute. I think Commissioner
I'm sorry.
Evans?
No, I was just saying thank you.
Oh.
So this is the existing outline of the Vander Water and Sewer District, just to give you a visual of what that looks like. Then I'm going to overlay this with this DEQ map that shows the concentration of the contamination within the Vander Water and Sewer District. And this morning, I'm glad that Mr. Baggett is here, who serves as the district manager for the Eastover Sanitary District. Our goal in looking at the Vander District or any new districts is looking at water source options that are already available. And so we've met with Mr. Baggett last week and already started having some potential conversations about collaboration and partnership. The Cedar Creek Water and Sewer District, again, this is an outline. This actually picks up down Cedar Creek Road. It goes partially down 210 that leads you kind of into that Upper Beaver Dam area. It goes down into Turnbull, and let me overlay the contamination. As you can see, the red and the yellow is spread throughout this district as well. The reason we expanded into the 210 area was to pick up the yellow in the upper part of the 210 area. And finally, this is the East Central Water and Sewer District. This is the unincorporated area outside Stedman. You can see that it goes out Old Clinton Road, picks up Maxwell Road, Old Vander Road, and also borders NC 210. And so as you can see, the contamination overlay with this district as well. And so finally, this is a comprehensive map. This shows the 4 water and sewer district, the existing Grays Creek, the existing Vander district, and the 2 new districts that we're recommending today that the board consider. And then this shows the concentration of the contamination basically within those 4 districts. So again, we believe that the best success for moving forward with exploring the financial feasibility is really early signups. We need commitments. And so customer participation early on is critical. We're already, as I said, exploring funding options. Thursday, July 21st, our team and I went to Raleigh, had a separate meeting with DEQ to advocate for funding for Grays Creek and planning funding for these districts. I want to talk a little bit about water supply options for the districts. Again, I've mentioned for Grays Creek, we have an existing bulk water agreement. There was a meeting Friday with the Public Works Commission to discuss Phase 1 and discussing the hydraulics of the system. But there are other sources available. Again, ESD, Harnett County has a water system. The city of Dunn comes into our area. But another option is to explore deep wells in the aquifer. Regardless of the water source, the county is going to be a good steward. We will add whatever treatment is necessary to remove any PFAS. We'll make sure that we supply safe and clean drinking water as we move forward. The next steps are basically, if the board has a desire to move forward, is to create these 2 new districts. There's items of business, 5 items of business that I'll present in just a few moments, and that includes the steps to create the district. If the board chose to move forward, the presentation was moved forward from the July 18th meeting. The first opportunity we could have to hold a public hearing would, I believe, be September the 19th. Unfortunately, for the 2 new districts, we've missed the window of funding to meet the September 30th deadline. Had we been able to meet July 18th, we would have been in a position to do that. Nonetheless, Vander is already created. we can apply for a planning grant, and that is our goal, and additional funding for Grace Creek. In addition, we want to be aggressive and open a canvassing period and work with HDR to generate a level of interest in Grace Creek for Phase 1, but also Vander and the other districts. We would like to offer a reduced tap fee for early sign-ons, and based on the number of taps and commitments that we can get early on, that will help determine the final cost and the cost of water to any citizen that has an early sign-up. DEQ held an informational meeting that was well-attended by citizens. From my perspective in attending the meeting, there was a different group of people. There were not many people there from Grace Creek, but because of the new contamination levels in different areas of the county, it was a good meeting, a lot of good information from DEQ, and the citizens asked a lot of good questions. One other item that we do need is, as we move forward, that is not on the presentation, if the board moves forward, even with Grace Creek, we're at a point that we need additional staffing, because as we move forward, we are going to be in the water business, and we need to hire a water resource engineer, an engineer that is dedicated to water resources. Amanda Botter is working with us, but she has a full-time job at the solid waste, but she's putting in a lot of time on this. My recommendation would be is to take some money that's in the Grace Creek project that's been set aside, part of that $10 million, for a water resource engineer. So I will pause here, and I'll be happy to try to answer any of your questions.
Commissioner Booth.
Thank you, sir. I've got several, and I just did it on your little grid, so I'll try to keep in order.
Yes, sir.
What's been the cost since 2002 of the Linden and Vanderwater sewer districts that we created?
No cost.
Okay, so we don't have any engineers sitting around in case that happens?
No, sir.
Okay.
It's really been a dormant district.
Okay, what's going to be more pressing and that we need to have an engineer sitting around waiting for the lawsuits between the state versus Chemours now versus the state, the county versus Chemours, the Bud Group all the way up and down the Cape Fear River? Is anything really going to happen until all those get resolved?
I guess that's a decision of the board. My recommendation is that we not wait for any legal remedy. There's contamination. There's additional contamination that's been identified based on the EPA reducing that health advisory. And so it's my recommendation that we begin to explore those other areas and determine if we have the availability to provide clean drinking water. Even if you don't move forward with those other areas, we need a dedicated engineer, because this board has already approved to move forward with Grace Creek. Phase 1, and there are additional phases beyond that. So the recommendation today is to try to find additional funding. If there's legal remedy, then we can address that later on, but this is just about providing water.
Okay, and the 2019 consent order, aren't there all kinds of counterpoints being made as to whether they're in violation or not? I mean, I know we have a very well-read, educated citizen here, Mr. Waters, who will point to the state regs, the federal regs, and show exactly how many, just on the measurements that the state is taking, that shows that they're in violation, but nobody's got a court notice to go back to court.
So that's a really good question. I failed to mention that, is that based on the new EPA guidelines, there has been communication between DEQ and Chemours. As you may recall, several years ago, and a part of the consent order is that Comores had to do a financial feasibility study to determine the feasibility of placing water in the Grace Creek District as well as west of the river, mainly that Cedar Creek area. Comores has about 6 weeks to develop that financial feasibility based on the new EPA guidelines. The board's taken an active role in Grace Creek will make Grace Creek more financially feasible. And so we're working with DEQ to share our information through DEQ to Comores, because that will make the Grace Creek District more feasible. So there may be some changes to the consent order, Commissioner Booth, based on this new engagement and this new information.
Madam Chair, I might clarify, because I think this is directly on point. The 4 counties and the public utilities in the southeastern part of the state have been contacted by the AG's office. We all met last Monday in Wilmington, and with Comores, our outside counsel is involved, and all the county attorney's offices are also. Those discussion, and this was something that Comores requested. So this is ongoing. The next meeting is August 23rd. So there is some activity in that regard, at least discussion at this point in all those lawsuits.
Okay. The difference in the 140 parts per trillion and the 10, has there been anything that, I mean, I just haven't seen it. Maybe we haven't gotten it. Maybe Comores has it. Maybe the state has it. But to this date, I haven't seen a 5-legged cow. I haven't seen an oncologist report that says the chickens are having mutant eggs, or there's not any human factors. It's just that they've identified all kinds of neat things with initials that are in the water that shouldn't be there, but I haven't seen anything that says that it's killing anyone, making anyone sick. Everybody in the family has feelings like that, but I haven't seen, I think if we got a federal agency that said that, 2 parts of AGE will kill you, and then we have it, then I think we'd actually be able to put a timeline on some of this stuff. But we just keep saying there's PFAS and PFOs and all that stuff. But one of my best friends lived out there for 26 years on County Line Road across the street from Comores. Until this came out, he used to rave about his drinking water and how I had to be in the city drinking recycled bathtub water from PwC. So now, based on the 140 parts thing, he's on a whole new agenda, but that's almost 3 decades of him living there without a headache. So is there anything going to be more other than the banter? I mean, what was magic about 140? We never established that. So while they were all complaining about 140, we just went to 10.
Commissioner Booth, I think we were out at the meeting with DEQ, and DEQ would say they haven't done anything on the animals and the plants, but they did do it on humans, and it's the federal guidelines. These are health advisories. Mm-hmm. These aren't on the legal side. It's the health advisories, and they did say that it causes cancers. In terms of, they have a whole array of things. They tell you over a period of time. That was at the meeting that we had out at the Crown just the other day when we were out there. So if you go to their website, I think they tell you those health advisories and what they've been able to find out since they started studying the PFAS and the Gen X, as well as what NC State's doing. I think they talked about NC State, if I'm not
and
if
ECU, there's significant studies ongoing.
Okay, and you said that you advocated for funding in Raleigh last week. Do we have a figure that we need, or are you just generically saying money?
No, sir. So we're specifically looking for funding for Grace Creek. We applied for a $15 million grant for Grace Creek. We were not selected. And one of the reasons we were not selected is that emerging contaminants were not a part of the evaluation criteria. That was another part of our advocacy. We actually had a regional meeting with DEQ on Wednesday, July 20th. I specifically spoke to Secretary Beiser about that, and she said that emerging contaminants will now be an evaluation criteria.
Ongoing.
Yes, sir. So for the September 30th grant applications, 15 million, I believe, was the maximum. We plan to apply for that maximum. We want to apply for a planning grant, probably in the range of about $500,000 to start to look at planning for water contamination within that district.
Okay, do we still have, there was like a short loop that got us to Grays Creek Elementary area-ish. Then there was a longer one, and then the all-encompassing one where we would have to discharge some water unless we get a whole lot of people really interested in order to justify the density area. That have any of those numbers changed as a result of now us being involved in the lawsuit or anything, or is everybody saying, well, now it's just being resolved in the court? I mean, is there more piqued public interest in signing up?
Yes, sir.
It says here that they'll be given a discount. Will they have to pay right then, or do they just get on the list that since they signed up, when it gets to be determined, allow people to sign up at a reduced tap fee?
Yes, sir.
Has that been determined what the tap fee is?
No,
or
we
anything?
would come back to you, sir.
Okay.
I mean, that's another we would come back to you with our campaign, the community meetings, and a plan. This is high level. I'm asking you if you want to move forward. If you do, then we'll bring back specifics.
Okay, and then my only other thing is, like you said, we've had two districts for a decade. We're in stuff now that's going to be resolved in state and federal court, all the way from Wilmington up to here, and now we're seeing that it's even traveling either by airborne or leaching in the soils north of water flow. So it's not just where Camorrs is, Cape Fear River south. It's actually going east, west, and north. So I'm just not in favor of, and I don't know if the attorneys checked into this, approving an organization where the chair and or the county manager sign stuff. I don't think we're in a crunch thing that, you're going to get a call at 11:55 and you have till midnight to make up a decision. We have stuff that nothing's happened in 10 years. We have, on our agenda today, we're approving about 15 minutes from board meetings and stuff. So I just don't see to execute applications, I don't think they're going to be 10 minutes or less. Certifications, other documents, purchases and stuff. I don't think that's why there's 7. I don't think you then just say, well, to make things go faster, we'll just have one person sign on behalf of everybody. So I'm not in favor of shirking our duties as a board to determine something, to have one person get a call at 10 o'clock and go, okay. So that doesn't, unless you can tell me there's some urgent thing here, I don't think we can even, depending on who you ask, they say it's not a good way to do business. Some even say it may be improper or illegal to do that.
All right. And I guess that's the board's.
It's the board's
whether
decision.
they make a decision or not.
Well, let me address, the reason that language is in these resolutions is because the designation of an authorized official as a signatory is a requirement of these applications. That's right. That doesn't mean that the county manager, if the authorized official could make an application, you would still have to approve the application. It just you have to designate, the board has to designate who signs it. But it still will take board action.
That's not what this says.
That's not what it says.
That's
It
not what it
says
says.
to execute resolutions, certifications, and other documents. Other documents could be a contract.
That's pretty definite.
Executing in that sense just means signing. I mean,
Yeah.
we can, I think if the board would be more comfortable in putting language, another paragraph in there to all actions would be approved by the governing boards, I mean, that would be fine. But
Well, I just
Well,
don't,
I-
I just don't see in the history
Yeah.
of the last 20 years that it's been something that we missed something by not having someone be able to sign at 11:30 on a Thursday night.
Commissioner Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is complicated. There's no doubt. And it's almost like, peeling an onion. The more you peel, the more you cry. Because every time we go, I haven't heard anybody say anything definite that hasn't changed. You know, there's, what are the parts per million? And all of a sudden, the EPA of North Carolina just totally turns it up on its end, opening up all of these new areas, and now Chemours is contesting their science of how to do that, correct? They are contesting.
The
They
state
have-
and the federal.
Yeah.
And the federal EPA.
Right,
Yes,
they're
that's correct. They
contesting
have
how
filed a
the
lawsuit.
state all of a sudden came to this, and you know, when the state sneezes, we bounce off the walls down here. But, you know, one of the things you've asked is, we need to know how many people want to get in this initial phase. That has been a question that we have asked for 20 years about, because if you don't know how many people want to get involved, you don't know what the cost is going to be for water to get to these areas, and we're banking on the grants that possibly could come through these water districts. So if only 25% of the people sign up and say they'd like to be part of it, it's going to be cost prohibitive for them to have water in there, and then the other 75 are going to get really upset because they're going to have to pay an accessibility fee to have access to that water. So there's so many questions, and there's not a lot of definite answers. And, you know, to the manager, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, the board authorized the $10 million to get to the schools. And we're still negotiating that. We still have a solid plan on getting to the schools, do we?
Yes, we do.
When is that going to start?
As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, we need to sign the encroachment agreements. That's one of the things I need the board to, through the organization action resolution, to give the chairman or the full board or myself the authority to sign the encroachment agreements. I can't sign it without your authority. We want to start purchasing the easements and start the permitting process. In order to start the permitting process, somebody has to be authorized to sign it. Our goal, our team's goal, is to go out for bid for Phase 1 in February of 2023.
And how long do we think this project will take?
Before supply chain delays, a year, but around a year to about 14 months.
Yeah. And just so the public knows, it was this board's intention that by August of 2021, we had hoped to have this in, but other things came about, and now we're dealing with supply chain and increased cost and everything else. On these water districts, it hasn't been addressed here, but who is going to be the governing board of each of these individual water districts?
This board.
Okay. It's not going to be a separate board in any of them,
No, sir.
like some of the sewer districts?
No, sir.
Okay. Vander. I remember 5 years ago, Golden Leaf didn't they bring some water out deep into
Sewer.
Vander? Sewer?
Sewer.
It was just sewer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. All right.
All right. All right, so where we are, I guess, is the first thing to me, and I guess in terms of the next step, is whether this board wants to create the 2 new water districts. So-
And there are items of business later on the agenda.
Oh, okay. So
Yes,
we don't
sir.
have to do it now? Okay.
No, sir.
Well, so it's because, while we're talking about it, I think, it's the creation of the 2 new water districts. I know there's another things. I think on the approval of the organization, I would seek to change the language to approve organization action resolution granting chairman and/or county manager to sign application certificates, resolutions, or other documents after the board approves. So that way it has from the board, which is what would happen anyway.
Yes.
And then you don't have
That's
that
clear.
issue with 11 o'clock at night when I don't answer my phone anyway, so.
That's what I was saying. It's not gonna work.
It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen at that time. And
Unless there's a photo.
the whole of public hearing on the creation of the water sewer districts on 8/15.
No,
What?
no. 9/18. We
Okay.
missed that deadline.
Right, and that, I was going to ask that, because to me, it would seem that if you're going to have that public hearing, and when is the next deadline, I guess is my question.
So we missed the September funding deadline.
Right.
I'm not sure of another funding deadline, or
Because-
funding opportunity.
It would be to me that on those community meetings, if the deadline's out, is to have those community meetings before you have the public hearing. And that way people understand what's going on, if that makes sense. If there's no deadline,
Well, there's a public, so the public
Mm-hmm.
hearing would offer an opportunity for those citizens to come in. But if you want us to, we can back up and do the
Right.
engagement before you
Right.
create the districts.
well, the problem I have with just having a public hearing is they wouldn't know what to come in and talk about.
Exactly.
I mean, you're asking people to come in to a public hearing, and I think they've seen this presentation and maybe go to the website. So to me, education-wise would be to have those public meetings beforehand and then have the public
Yes,
hearing.
sir.
Either you may not have anybody at the public hearing because they got all their questions answered, or they may come because they've got that information. So if there is no deadline, and we don't know the deadline of the next funding, now if there's a deadline on the next funding that doesn't make that feasible, then I think we can readjust. But
My sources in the back have just whispered May.
okay, so I think we can have those public hearings, those meetings with those areas to let them know, so that they are just not coming up here talking about, I disagree with this. They actually have some information. Does that make sense from the board standpoint?
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Thank you
Yeah.
for the clarification. It does.
Yeah, and I think that's strong, because, Madam Manager, there is a tipping point on people signing up, correct?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And
That's
and I
part of
think the
the,
public needs to know what that tipping point is. If that tipping point is, we need 45% to sign up and only 20 are willing, then I don't want to take a lot of energy moving
sir.
forward to if it's not the will of that district.
Well, and then it comes back to this board is whether you require people to do it and not just, and I'm not saying that, but I think that's where the education piece comes in.
Sure.
To be able to do that. And so I think that's important to be able to know that, and people won't have to listen to innuendos and everything in the community, and they have a little bit better. And I think at that point, you all may have a little bit more knowledge as to what you can tell them and how this is going. I know that they may be sitting at home watching on this, but it's hard to see. It was just difficult for me to even understand.
Yes, sir.
But I had it here. So when we go out and have that, I think we need to have it at locations where all of this is printed and they can have it in advance. I think that's clearly important.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Evans.
thank you, sir. I know that I had asked what was the water district, but do the citizens clearly understand the purpose of why we're doing this at this time?
And I think,
Why are we talking
yeah.
about creating two water districts now at this particular time?
and Commissioner Evans, I think that's why I was saying if we have these community hearings before we create them, to be able to see that, whether we have a consensus as to whether we want to move forward on it, then you have the information sessions before we have the public hearing, and then we go from there. So I think they will get that information. That seems to be a better route than having a public hearing on people don't know what they're talking about.
I think it's an excellent recommendation.
Commissioner Booth.
Thank you for summarizing and kind of bringing it all back around. That I think is very helpful. I think you'll get more opinions, input, butts and seats if we do it that way. And also, it's kind of funny, but I think the two that'll agree the most, a lot of people think that now that we're suing somebody and everyone's suing somebody and the levels have been lowered and all that stuff, that now the court system's going to resolve it. I think realistically, Glenn and I will kind of acknowledge that it might not be nearly as fast as people would like it to be.
West Virginia.
Well, that's
West
what I'm
Virginia
saying. So,
took
we
forever.
might be looking for Aaron Brockovich to come out of retirement or something. It's just every time there's a motion hearing and it doesn't go your way, someone's going to say it affects a substantial right, appeal that to the Fourth Circuit. It's just going to, and I think in my going out there to the area, people are very happy about getting attorneys, taking it to court, challenging the consent order, updating the figures to make them more stringent. I think everyone's kind of like in a little lull, like it's going to take care of itself now, or not totally, but that now it's moving. And I'll just be realistically, I think it may have taken a slight vacation until everyone gets it into court. So that's my concern, is that some people we may have had coming in still rowdy may think now that the rowdiness has brought court attention and now it's all going to be okay. And I just like to put the word out there, keep coming to the meetings, because it may not be as fast as you think.
And I think the last thing, Madam Manager, is that I went to the meeting that they had out at the Crown, and I think education is important, because I think looking at the people who presented the other night is an entirely different group of people that we were doing a few years ago. And so I think, but I did get the impression that this group is a little bit more forceful with Camorras than the last group. That's just one independent idea. I know we do have Mr. Baggett here, Attorney Baggett here. I think one of the things in this discussion, because out of that consent agreement, and I don't see it on here, but I want those folk to know, outside of Stedman, there is some contamination too. And I think in that consent agreement, it talks about if there's a water source to be able to do it. So we may, in that conversation, make sure we have some conversation about Stedman and their water district with those right outside. I think it's 10 miles or real close to that water district. And hopefully we can get the funding to take care of those neighborhoods that circle right there. We don't have those water systems out in Graves Creek and Cedar Creek, so we missed that with the consent agreement.
So outside Stedman would be that East Central District. And
That's
yes, that's what our team's going to do, is to look at any available options for water sources.
Thank you, Madam
Yes,
Manager.
sir.
All right, that takes us to our consent agenda. Does anybody have any items to pull from the consent agenda? I would ask to pull H from the consent agenda. And other than that, if I can get a motion to approve the consent agenda, Commissioner Council.
I thought I had my motion ready.
It's just a motion to approve consent agenda, absent H.
Let's approve the consent agenda.
Absent number
Except
8. Yes. All right. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right.
I second it.
You can't move in second. She seconded. Second, Mr. Stewart.
Commissioner Lancaster?
Yes.
Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
Chairman Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yeah.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keith?
Yes.
That is unanimous.
And I just pulled H, which is the approval of the rescission of the emergency declaration for COVID-19. Just, Madam Manager, if you would kind of explain that. It gets stuck in consent agendas and people really don't know what that means. I know the governor rescinded his, so that rescinds some things that happened in his community and any kind of emergency declaration. So just a little bit, and I'm sorry I didn't give you a prior
that's fine.
warning of that, but
No
I
problem.
think it shouldn't be buried into this consent agenda.
Yes, sir. So on March 16th, 2020, the Board of Commissioners followed the state and issued a state of emergency. And under a state of emergency, that gives the counties and local governments certain powers to address emergencies such as hurricanes, tornadoes, or a pandemic for the first time for us. And so it also puts you in a position to draw down FEMA funding and to get reimbursement. And so as we near, hopefully, the end of this pandemic, the governor has rescinded the statewide state of emergency, and when we believe it's prudent to follow as well. Right now, there's nothing, no advantage to keeping it in place. And right now, there's no FEMA funding for reimbursement. We've received a lot of state-directed grants at public health.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to the approval of the rescission of the emergency declaration for the COVID-19. Get a second. It's been moved and seconded.
Commissioner Lancaster?
Yes.
Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
Chairman Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Is that your vote, yes?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keith?
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right, thank you. That takes us to our public hearing, which is the consideration of approval and the principle of the issuance not to exceed $27 million exempt facility revenue bonds by the Cumberland County Industrial Facilities and Pollution Control Financing Authority to provide financing to Cargill Incorporated, which doesn't cost us any money, but I call on the county manager.
Actually, this is
Oh,
an
the
item
attorney.
from the
I'm
county
sorry.
attorney.
This is the county attorney.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the Cumberland County Industrial Facilities and Pollution Control Financing Authority has considered this in the preliminary consideration and then final approval of this issuance just last week. And that's the first one they have done since I have been here in 2010, so it's a new thing. The reason that this project is in the process, and it also had to be approved by the Local Government Commission, and it was kind of rushed to this board because the Local Government Commission meets tomorrow, and it's a long time before they meet again. But this is a special purpose project in which Cargill is taking the soybean hull waste and converting it into animal feed with other materials, and taking it out of the waste stream. So it's actually a solid waste disposal project. The estimate is up to $27 million. It is for the purchase of the equipment and the construction of some additional facility there at the Fayetteville plant for this purpose. This is an issuance by the Pollution Control Financing Authority. It is not an obligation.
Is your microphone working? Because it's hard. I mean, I can't even.
I'm speaking into it, but
Okay.
is it getting?
This doesn't seem to be
Maybe
as loud.
Okay, I guess I have to get closer now. That
There
I
you
get
go.
on to, okay. all
There
right,
you go.
thank
I think
But-
everybody was trying to figure out the,
Okay.
it was just.
All right, but anyway, it creates no liability, no debt. It is not an obligation at all of the county or the industrial authority. The industrial authority has to issue it. The Board of Commissioners has to approve that issuance in order for it to be a tax exempt financing a revenue bond. And all the mechanics of the sale of the bond and everything have already been worked out by bond counsel and the trustee. It's actually being purchased by the Bank of New York. So
Commissioner
it's
Keith.
my recommendation that it be approved.
To the attorney, does this have any tether at all to the methane agreement that we have with them?
No,
No tether at all?
no.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Then I will open the public hearing on the issuance of the bonds, the financing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
No speakers.
All right, I will close the public hearing, and I would ask for a motion to approve in principle of approve the issuance of which is not to exceed 27 million exempt facilities revenue bonds by the Cumberland County Industrial Facilities and Pollution Control Financing Authority to provide financing to Cargill Incorporated.
Second.
It's been moved and second.
Commissioner
Pull your
Lang-
mic, please pull your mic. There you go.
Commissioner Lancaster? Yes. Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
Chairman Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keith?
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right, thank you. That will take us to items of business, which is the consideration of the designation of the voting delegate to the annual conference and to the Legislative Goals Conference.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The NCACC Annual Conference will be held August 11th through 13th in Cabarrus County, and the Legislative Goals Conference will be held November 16th and 17th in Wake County. The NCACC has reached out and has asked each county to select a voting delegate, one person to serve as a voting delegate for both conferences.
Can I ask a question? Because the annual conference is in one place, the Legislative Goals Conference is in Wake County.
Yes, sir.
Can they be two different people? And does it have to be a commissioner?
They can be two different people. The clerk has corrected me. I apologize.
Does it have to be a commissioner to the Legislative Goals? Okay. Just checking, because that's, That's a lot of meetings to go to. So let's divide this up. The consideration of a designation of the voting delegate to the annual conference. And I will be at the annual conference.
Okay.
I've already signed up.
What?
Go ahead.
I suggest our present chairman as the voting delegate to the annual conference.
I'll second that because I understand there's a photo op involved.
If we can get a roll call.
Then you-
Commissioner Lancaster.
Yes.
Commissioner Council.
Yes,
Commissioner Stewart.
Yes.
Chairman Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans.
Yeah.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
And I think the legislative goals go into next year, so I would think that the vice chair would be a great person to send to that legislative goal conference if she's willing to. So if I can entertain a motion to
That's
appoint
my
the vice
motion.
chair. Is there a second? I second. Okay, you got a second. All right.
Commissioner Lancaster.
Yes.
Commissioner Council.
yes,
Commissioner Stewart.
Yes.
Chairman Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans.
Yeah.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right, thank you. And then that takes us to B, which is the consideration of the organization action resolution for the Grays Creek Water and Sewer District. And that would be, if somebody wants me to reread what I did, Commissioner Booth.
Subject to the Adams Amendment, I would so move.
All right, is there a second?
second,
Been moved in second?
Commissioner Lancaster.
Yes.
Commissioner Council.
yes,
Commissioner Stewart.
Yes.
Chairman Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans.
Yeah.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, that was the organization. The next one is the resolution.
Yes, sir, and the board approved a resolution for the May application, and we just want a renewed application to show the support from the board. All this does
For the
is...
September, you mean, but now it's
Yeah.
for the May.
Yeah, the last one was for May, but we want a new one with a current date for the September 30th grant application deadline.
But it would be the May deadline.
No.
The September, well, this is for Grays Creek.
Yes, sir, this is for Grays Creek. So we applied in May, and we were not awarded a
Right,
grant. We want to apply for the September 30th deadline, and we want an updated resolution of support from this board.
Mr. Chairman, the reason for the delay in the other two, the East Central and, what was the other one? The district, proposed district?
Yeah.
There are two. There's a statutory process to create those districts, and those districts cannot be created in time to make
Right.
the September.
Right, well, and then we're not even moving forward.
Right,
with
that's
that.
what I'm saying.
I was just explaining that, yes. But of course,
We
Grays
just,
Creek and Van Dyke
we
did.
just thought, we talked to DEQ when we were there Thursday, the 21st, and they suggested that the board do a more current resolution supporting the grant application for September 30th. You did one specifically for May,
So the application has to be in by,
September 30th.
but the award's not till May. I don't
No,
understand the
there's
dates.
okay, I'm
just-
sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm lost.
No, I apologize, I have not been clear.
Okay.
There was a grant application deadline of May. We met that deadline.
Right, and we didn't get it.
Right. There's a deadline September 30th. The next round of grants will be next May. We should know probably in the November timeframe whether we were successful with the September 30th grant application
So we can still meet the September.
for Grays Creek.
Right, okay.
It's an existing district.
Okay,
okay.
all right. So if I can get a motion to approve the resolution for Grays Creek Water and Sewer District grant application.
That was going to be my motion. That's
Okay.
my motion.
If I can get a second?
Second.
All right.
And Mr. Chairman, I think to the Commissioner Booth's comment on the first resolution, the Adams Amendment should apply to each of these. That language should be in each of these. The amendment that Commissioner Adams suggested in the earlier discussion.
Well, this is the resolution, well, yeah, but, okay.
They're both are resolutions, yes, sir.
Well, one was a consideration of the organization. Action was, okay. All of these, it should improve all of those, that language that I gave you. So that's, thank you. All right.
Commissioner Lancaster?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Council? Vice Chairwoman Stewart?
Yes.
Chairman Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe?
Yes.
That is unanimous.
All right, that takes us to the consideration of the resolution for the Vanderwater and Sewer District grant application pursuant to that same language. If I can get a motion.
Mr. Chairman, before you vote, let me point out that there is a typo error in the 1, 2, 3rd paragraph after the now therefore. It says upon failure of the Grays Creek, it should be the failure of the Vander. So
Well, I
we'll
read
we'll
that.
correct that. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I got that. I haven't signed the resolution, do we? All right,
Make sure the board understands that will be corrected before it's final.
all right.
Okay, you had a motion.
I got a motion and a second. Motion by Commissioner Council, second by Commissioner Lancaster.
Commissioner Lancaster?
Yes.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
Chairman Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe?
Yes.
That is unanimous.
All right. And that takes us to the Norcross Water and Sewer District. If I can get a motion to approve the organization action resolution for the Norcrest Water and Sewer District.
Same motion, yes.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All of those in, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Lancaster?
Yes.
Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Stewart?
Yes.
Chairman Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe?
Yes.
That is unanimous.
And if I can get a motion for the resolution for the Cumberland County grant application, I guess that's for Norcrest. Or what is that?
This would be for Norcrest.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right, for Norcrest.
Okay.
If I can
That's
get a
my
motion. If I can get a second.
Second.
It's been moved and second.
Commissioner Lancaster?
Yes.
Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Stewart?
Yes.
Chairman Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe?
Yes.
That is unanimous.
All right, thank you so very much for everyone. That takes care of those items of business for those water districts. I think this board has done yeoman's work today on all of that. And if we make sure, I guess we have to redo those resolutions to include the language that was approved today, which changes that. And we can see that beforehand. So we make sure we did what the board indicated for us to do. That will take us to the nominations, and I will call on Vice Chairwoman Stewart for the Social Services Board.
The Social Services Board recommends Betsy Bradshaw.
All right, she's been there before. All righty. That takes us to the ABC Board, 2 vacancies.
The two
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Mr. Chair,
yes, Commissioner Evans.
before we go on, I think we need to look at these boards again. Because as you mentioned, some people have served 3 and 4 different times in these positions. And I think that we as a board, during this time, talking about the different committees and boards that we have, we need to at some point decide a time frame, how long these individuals can serve on these boards.
Well, Commissioner Evans, I think, there are term limits. You can only do 2 terms. You go off and you can come back on. But I would tell you, it's incumbent upon this board to be able to make nominations and then vote on who goes on these boards. So they don't have to be the same persons. This comes out, I think, Madam, the clerk has given us at some point when we did all of this, information of all of our boards and the terms and everything. And so I agree with you, but I think it's incumbent upon us to be able to do that. We do not have to take the recommendations from these boards, but this agenda is put out in advance on that, and plus everybody, there's a whole list. Now, I would tell you, and I think Commissioner Keefe and I have talked about it before, and we haven't had one because of the pandemic, but there are citizens academies that we have people come through, and we put them through that 6 weeks or whatever that is, and then we don't even consider those folk in terms of some of our boards and commissions. And I think that's just wrong. If they're willing to give up their time and energy and then say, I wish to be on this board because I went and saw what was happening, I think each one of us owe it to look at all of those people who've made applications on our website. We've asked people, go to the website and put in for whatever board or commission that you want. If we're going to encourage people to do that, then we ought to make sure that we look at that and make sure. So, again, thank you for bringing it to our attention. I think that's, you're correct on that. Right.
And you know what, and Commissioner Adams, thank you for saying that. And I do want to make it very clear. This comment was not done there in reference to anyone that has been nominated today. It was just that I thought about it, and this was the appropriate time to talk about it.
Yes, sir. Not a problem. That takes us to the ABC Board.
I have a nomination.
Yes, Commissioner
I
Council.
nominate Ms. Terry Thomas.
Okay. And anyone else? Commissioner Booth.
Greg Edge.
Greg Edge. Vice Chairwoman Stewart.
There are 2 vacancies, and I want to add to that list Jamil George.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Keefe.
Only on the recommendation of the ABC Board for Alex Warner.
All righty. Those are nominations. Board of Adjustments, there are 3 vacancies. Madam Vice Chairwoman.
The Board of Adjustments recommends Gary Silverman, Ian Reeves for alternative member positions.
Was that 3 or 2?
That is 2. They gave an alternative member, and they also have a vacancy for a 3rd alternative member.
Okay. Are there any nominations? If not, we've had 2. We'll bring the second one, the last one back in our August meeting. All right, that takes us, anybody, unless anyone has any other nominations. That takes us to the Mid-Carolina Aging Council, 1 vacancies. Madam Vice Chairwoman.
The Mid-Carolina Aging Advisory Council recommends Pat Edwards to serve as the volunteer position unexpired term.
All righty. And that takes us to the Library Board of Trustees. Madam Vice Chairwoman.
The Library Board of Trustees recommends Daniel Matoya to serve in unexpired term.
All righty. Then that takes us to the appointments. And that would be, the first one would be Chairman of the ABC Board, Madam Vice Chairwoman.
The ABC Board recommends Lee Ballman as the chairman for the 2022-2023 year.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. I will abstain from that because he's my law partner, but if you will call the vote.
Commissioner Lancaster?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Council? Vice Chairwoman Stewart?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. That will take us to the Transportation Advisory Board.
A motion to appoint nominees Carla Smith in the category of Mid-Carolina Council of Governments Director of Designee.
Is there a second?
Second.
All righty.
Amber Gulch in the category of Aging Program Representative.
How many you got? You can do them all at one time.
And Deloma Graham in the category of MPO Representative.
All right. If I can get a motion on those appointments? Again, she only did one, so we're going to do them all.
Okay, that's my motion.
Just your second.
My second.
Okay. It's been moved in second.
Commissioner Lancaster? Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Stewart?
Yes.
Chairman Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe?
Yes.
That is unanimous.
And that takes us to the Fayetteville Area Convention and Visitors Bureau Board of Directors. Madam Vice
I
Chairwoman.
would like to make a motion to appoint Lily Schmitz.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Lancaster?
Yes.
Commissioner Council?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Stewart?
Yes.
Chairman Adams?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Booth?
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe?
Yes.
That is unanimous.
All right, thank you. That takes care of our nominations and appointment. So right now, I would like to recess the Board of Commissioners meeting, and I will convene the Graves Creek Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting. And if I can get a motion to approve the consent agenda and the approval of the February 15, 2021, and April 18, 2022 meeting minutes.
That's my motion.
If I can get a second? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lancaster, Commissioner
Yes.
Council, Vice Chairwoman Stewart,
Yes.
Chairman Adams,
Yes.
and Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
No.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
That motion passes. Are you voting not in favor?
Right.
She said
Very
yes.
good, thank you. The
Uh,
motion passes.
That takes us to the Grays Creek Water and Sewer District item of business, which we just did, which is if I can get a motion for the organization action resolution for the Grays Creek Water and Sewer District.
So moved.
If I can get a second.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lancaster, Commissioner Council,
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Stewart,
Yes.
Chairman Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
All right, that would take us to a motion for the resolution for the Grays Creek Water and Sewer District grant application, which the commissioners did, but this is up under the Grays Creek Water and Sewer District. If I can get a motion for that resolution.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lancaster, Commissioner
Yes.
Council, Vice Chairwoman Stewart,
Yes.
Chairman Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
and Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Okay. I will adjourn the Grays Creek Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting, and I will convene the Vander Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting, and would ask to approve the Vander Water and Sewer District Governing Board consent agenda and approval of the June 6, 2011 meeting minutes. If I can get a motion. It's been moved.
Second.
It's been second. If Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lancaster, Commissioner Council, Vice Chairwoman Stewart,
Yes.
Chairman Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth,
No.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Okay. That takes us to the Vander Water and Sewer District items of business, which is the resolution we just passed. If I can get a motion for the resolution for the Vander Water and Sewer District grant application.
That's my motion.
If I can get a second.
Second.
All right. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lancaster, Commissioner Council,
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Stewart,
Yes.
Chairman Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Okay. I will adjourn the Vander Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting, and I will convene the Northcrest Water and Sewer District Governing Board meetings. Take a motion to approve the Governing Board consent agenda and approval of the February 21st, 2022, the April 18th, 2022, and the May 16th, 2022 meeting minutes. If I can get a second.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lancaster, Commissioner Council, Vice Chairwoman Stewart,
Yes.
Chairman Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
All right, that takes us to the Norcross Ward and Sewer District items of business, which is, we've already done this by the commissioners, but it has to be done as an item of business on the Norcrest. The organization action, if we can do the resolution for the Norcrest Water and Sewer District. If I can get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lancaster, Commissioner Council,
Yes.
Chairwoman Stewart,
Yes.
Chairman Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
All right, then I will adjourn the Northcrest Water and Sewer District Governing Board meeting. And now I will reconvene the Board of Commissioners meeting. And there is a motion to go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143, 318, 11A5 and 143, 318, 11A6. If I can get a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second to go into closed session. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lancaster, Commissioner Council,
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Stewart,
Yes.
Chairman Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
Commissioner Booth.
Yes.
Commissioner Keefe.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
I don't know how long we're going to be in closed session, And so if you will stay by your phone, if we need you when we come back out into open session, if you want us to call you so you don't have to hold on the line, or you can hold on the line, it's up to you.
I would appreciate a call, sir.
All righty, thank you. All right, we'll go into closed session. Go out of closed session.
So moved.
All those in favor? All right. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved in second. We are, all those in favor? All right, we are adjourned. Thank